we're going to talk about Coinbase, which is moving forward with Base. It's a layer 2 proposal built on top of the Optimism OP stack. Base is a new way to build on-chain. Coinbase is pushing forward with this idea of on-chain summer, bringing in huge brands like Coca-Cola, Atari, and other groups like OpenSea in order to build more applications on-chain. They first launched this in July for developers, are now opening up to the public this month. We've already seen a few different things happening with Base, notably the BALD token, a meme coin which took off just last week and developed into a $100 million market cap token in short order and then quickly fell apart. A lot of development for this story. Zach, I'm going to throw it to you first of all, talk about BALD, Base, and a lot of different things happening with the Optimism stack.
Wow, there's so much to go on here. First of all, yeah, Optimism looking pretty good in terms of the scaling solutions out there, racking up some key wins, of which Base is a good one. BALD, we talked about yesterday, and the potential Alameda-linked shenanigans that some breadcrumbs on chain suggest could be at play. And yeah, on-chain summer, man. I mean, that's a bit aspirational for sure, but I think L2s and roll-ups are very much part of the conversation right now in the broader crypto space, right? How do we make, mainstream throughputs possible? You can't do it on the base layer. You can't do it on Ethereum mainnet. You got to do it on these roll-ups, right? Whether that's the Optimism stack, whether that's something like ZK Sync, or whether that's something like Arbitrum. We've seen a lot of momentum around these faster, cheaper alternatives to Ethereum mainnet. And I think Coinbase, in choosing the Optimism stack, sort of put a big stamp of approval that I think others in the space are sort of following. So yeah, OpStack is definitely looking pretty good out there at the moment. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see if this will be the thing that ultimately entices more people on chain. I think it's always worth stating that the numbers of crypto users who are interacting with on-chain applications is still pretty ridiculously low. So if this can move the needle through a big brand name, Coinbase, that's fantastic. But still, we're far off from any type of on-chain season. But hopefully this is something that gets us closer to those on-chain ideals rather than interacting with the Coinbases on the centralized exchange side. David, curious for your thoughts on this one. There's a lot to go on.
Okay, Zach, I'm going to kind of not exactly push back, but I have a different take, which is that I want to exactly do all this stuff through my Coinbase account, which I publicly admitted to having for the first time a couple months ago. And what I want to be able to do is take my Ethereum on Coinbase and put it into a liquidity pool on Uniswap through Base. And I think that if they can make that happen somehow, and regulators, who knows, but that I think is the play here that makes this incredibly insanely powerful for Coinbase, is like if they can onboard somebody onto an L2 through a Coinbase account somehow in a way that's reputable and trustworthy, then this is potentially a huge L2. And just to clarify for people who might not be familiar with some of this terminology, this is built on top of Ethereum, just like Optimism, just like Arbitrum, and I don't know a lot about the capabilities, but it has that basic security model of sharing Ethereum security. So I think there's a lot of potential here, and it is really, it is a bridge of a certain sort, a kind of spiritual bridge where you have Coinbase itself telling people, it's great to go do things on chain on these layer twos, and I think it's a big deal. And I think it has real potential. I mean, regulators are going to do what they're going to do, so we'll see. But I'm pretty bullish on this one. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll take it from. Yeah, I'll jump in here. I'm interested to see how Coinbase handles the public announcement of the launch of its layer 2, because they've already missed the opportunity to seize the narrative from the outset. As you guys talked about on the show yesterday, this meme coin BALD took all of the energy out of this announcement, I think, because people are already aware that to a certain extent, you can already use Base. You can get tokens in through what's currently a one-way bridge. On August 9th, I think they're going to open up so that you can take tokens out. But there's always this risk in creating permissionless systems that you don't know what's going to happen on top of them, right? So if I'm Coinbase, I want to be seen as a buttoned-up a company that people can take seriously. It's kind of hard to accomplish that when the very first headlines that are coming out of your layer 2 are this meme coin that gets rug pulled because of just all of the liquidity getting withdrawn. So I'm really curious to see how Coinbase handles and tries to reframe and retake the narrative here. Zach, I'll toss it to you.
Yeah, we've seen this with the Binance Smart Chain, now the BNB chain, right? Sort of like a, at times, cesspool of permissionless crap that got a lot of people into a lot of trouble in terms of getting rugged and getting otherwise exploited by various nefarious actors. So again, I think you're right, Danny, to home in on that point, right? To have the Coinbase brand name so closely associated with a permissionless system could ultimately backfire, right? I think the pro side is, hey, Coinbase has long said we need to push people into more on-chain applications. That is sort of the true power of crypto. You don't need us. You can just interact with the chain, and that's a beautiful thing. But the flip side of that coin is anyone can interact with that chain, and that includes disastrous blowups that we've seen on BNB chain and other chains across the world. So I think there is that potential brand risk that Coinbase could face. I want to know what David thinks about that, because I think
so
it could compromise sort of
one,
the super app thesis.
Because, right, I mean, I don't know, the super app, I'll leave that to one side, but the idea of the brand risk involved in a decentralized platform, I think that what I hope for here is that things will go badly, that like there will be bad stuff that happen, because I don't hope for it. I just think it's inevitable.
Classic David. He would.
But the point is that you have to change the way that people perceive this, and Coinbase being involved in this is going to do that, right? Where Coinbase is going to be out there telling the story that, like, no, we genuinely don't control this, and that's why bad things are possible to happen. And there are other ways to treat this than like blaming it on us. We built the platform, but we're not the ones in charge, and that's real, and that's why the bad things are happening. So like it kind of makes a good point in a certain roundabout way, I think.
Two bits of context for this before we go on to the next story I want to throw in there. One, Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, did make an announcement yesterday on Twitter that Coinbase is going to actively integrate the Lightning Network into its stack. For a long time, Bitcoiners have derided Coinbase not only for listing tons of tokens on its exchange, but also for failure to integrate Lightning into the stack. Another story I think is important here is, of course, the ongoing deal with the SEC in Coinbase in court. That sparked off earlier in the spring and is ongoing. Coinbase's decision to move forward with Layer 2 stack and move forward with listing other tokens sort of shows you what they think about the entire case with the SEC. I'm sure the SEC has its own opinion on something like Bald token launching on Coinbase's own product.